Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on the films of Laika Studios, going through all of the movies that they have released so far, as well as giving a bit of a tease on their next upcoming film set to release in 2025, Wildwood. All of this will be in an effort to share why I think Laika Studios is the most underappreciated animation studio working today. So without further ado, let's get started. First, let's go all the way back to the beginning and the origins of Laika Studios. The company was founded in 2005 and released their first feature film in 2009. One of the things I think this studio showcases most, and I think they're most proud of, is their true creative freedom. The company is owned by Nike co-founder Phil Knight, whose son Travis Knight acts as Laika's president and CEO. One of the most interesting facts about this studio is no film in their filmography has ever turned a profit, but they have full creative freedom, with the studio essentially being a passion project and creative outlet for Travis Knight. This puts them in a really unique space in Hollywood compared to other animation studios like Disney, Pixar, and even DreamWorks. Starting off our deep dive into Laika Studios' filmography, we have their debut film, Coraline. Coraline was released on February 6th, 2009. It was written and directed by Henry Selick of A Nightmare Before Christmas. It is also based on a novel of the same name written by Neil Gaiman. The story is as follows. Wandering her rambling old house in her boring new town, 11-year-old Coraline discovers a hidden door to a strangely idealized version of her life. In order to stay in the fantasy, she must make a frighteningly real sacrifice. The film released to pretty universal praise, currently holding a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a Letterboxd average of 4.2 out of 5 stars. In its initial theatrical run, it grossed over $124 million on a $60 million budget, and over its lifetime, with re-releases, it has grossed almost $185 million total. Awards included a nomination for Best Animated Feature, and many regard it as one of the best animated films of all time. Regarding my thoughts on the movie and my review, Laika truly put their best foot forward, introducing themselves to the world, showing what they are capable of with Coraline. The world is beautifully and eerily realized, with a very iconic and likable main character in Coraline. Her journey and story is one that is easy to root for, though a little predictable. It's still very engaging, experiencing everything through her eyes. I gave Coraline an 8 out of 10 stars. Moving on to Laika Studios' next film, we have ParaNorman. This movie was released on August 17th, 2012. It was written by Chris Butler and directed by Sam Fell and Chris Butler. It's an original story focusing on themes relating to the challenges kids face growing up. The story is as follows. In the town of Blythe Hollow, Norman Babcock can speak to the dead, but no one other than his eccentric new friend believes his ability is real. One day, Norman's eccentric uncle tells him of a ritual he must perform to protect the town from a curse cast by a witch centuries ago. ParaNorman was released to generally positive reviews, currently holding a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, and has a Letterboxd average of 3.6 out of 5. The final box office for the film sits at $107 million on a $60 million budget. Awards included an Academy Award nomination for Best Animated Feature. Regarding my thoughts and review on the movie, coming off the heels of Coraline, Laika continued to prove their worth with the production and design of ParaNorman. The film continued to showcase some of the best visuals I've seen from Laika Studios and any other stop-motion production. It separates itself from Coraline with new, creative, and unique character design and a world aesthetic. Unfortunately for me, the story of this one lacks quite a bit, It felt like more of a plot than a fleshed out story with growth and development. While I felt that each character was interesting, they were more tropey and felt like an archetype. None of the performances stood out to me very much, outside of Casey Affleck as Mitch. I do think it's a good movie, it just doesn't do enough with the story to match the production. I gave ParaNorman a 6.5 out of 10 stars. Next, moving on to The Box Trolls, which was released on September 26th, 2014. It was written by Irina Brignol and Adam Pava, and directed by Graham Annable and Anthony Stocki. The movie is loosely based on the novel Here Be Monsters, written by Alan Snow. The story is as follows. An orphaned boy raised by underground creatures called box trolls comes up from the sewers and out of his box to save his family and the town from the evil exterminator, Archibald Snatcher. This was another film releasing to generally positive reviews with a current 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a Letterboxd average of 3.2 out of 5. The final box office was $108 million on a $60 million budget. Awards continued to trend with another Academy Award nomination for Best Animated Feature. With my thoughts and review on the film, as with their previous two films, the stop-motion animation showcased here is unmatched. The Box Trolls falls into a bit more of a quirky category with its character, world, and the story. It's also really funny, filled with comedic moments and characters. I also appreciated the themes from the story on parenthood and childhood and the dynamic of those two different seasons of life. I think The Box Trolls is definitely the cutest of Laika's films. I gave the movie a 7 out of 10 stars. Next, we have Kubo and the Two Strings. This movie was released on August 19th, 2016. It was written by Shannon Tyndall and Mark Haynes and directed by Travis Knight. This is another original story inspired by a love and affinity for epic fantasy and Japanese culture. The movie received critical acclaim, earning a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a Letterboxd average of 3.9 out of 5. Despite that positive reception, the film only grossed $76 million on its $60 million budget. The film received an Academy nomination for Best Animated Feature Film as well as Best Visual Effects. This is only the second ever stop-motion film after A Nightmare Before Christmas to be nominated for Best Visual Effects. The story is as follows. Kubo mesmerizes the people in his village with his magical gift for spinning wild tales with origami. When he accidentally summons an evil spirit seeking vengeance, Kubo is forced to go on a quest to solve the mystery of his fallen samurai father and his mystical weaponry, as well as discover his own magical powers. Regarding my thoughts and review on the movie, Kubo and the Two Strings is my personal favorite Laika film so far. The attention to detail goes beyond the stop-motion sets and characters. It tells a beautiful and tragic story of the titular Kubo. There is no hesitation towards more mature themes, kinda like Coraline did, especially for a PG-rated movie. All of the performances are really great. The dynamic and chemistry between Charlize Theron, Matthew McConaughey, and Art Parkinson is awesome. The movie also features a beautiful score from Dario Marianelli. It is so unique while also paying homage to Asian culture as a masterful film. I give Kubo and the Two Strings a 10 out of 10 stars. Next, with Laika Studios' most recent film, we have Missing Link. This movie was released on April 12th, 2019. It was written and directed by Chris Butler, who was returning from ParaNorman. It is another original story developed within Laika Studios. The story is as follows. The charismatic Sir Lionel Frost considers himself to be the world's foremost investigator of myths and monsters. Trouble is, none of his small-minded high society peers seem to recognize this. Hoping to finally gain acceptance from these fellow adventurers, Sir Lionel travels to the Pacific Northwest to prove the existence of a legendary creature known as the Missing Link. This movie received generally favorable reviews with a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a Letterboxd average of 3.2 out of 5. Even with the overall positive reviews, the movie was a box office failure, grossing only $26 million on its $110 million budget. This was also the most expensive stop-motion film of all time. Despite the poor box office performance, it was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards. Regarding my thoughts and review of the movie, in many regards, Missing Link feels like Laika Studios' safest film so far. The story is fairly straightforward, and the characters familiar in their archetypes and journey. You can pretty much predict where it'll all go from the setup. Despite that, it's still a really fun and entertaining movie. It's very family friendly, even more than Box Trolls was. There is an overall charm and adventure to the film and its characters. Hugh Jackman and Zach Galifianakis together in the leads are worth it alone for their friendship and dynamic. As always, Laika crushes the animation. It's amazing when you lose yourself in the visuals and forget you're watching a live-action film told with puppets and miniatures. I will say that texture-wise, the movie almost could fool someone into thinking it's computer animated, but I kind of also think that's a compliment too. While the movie lacks some, it's a perfectly good and fun watch. I give Missing Link a 7 out of 10 stars. Finally, for Laika Studios, we have the upcoming movie Wildwood, which is set to release in 2025. The movie is written by Chris Butler, who is returning from ParaNorman and Missing Link, as well as being directed by Travis Knight, who will be returning from Kubo and the Two Strings. The film is adapted from the novel of the same name, written by Colin Malloy. Development on this movie actually began weeks after the book's release back in 2011, which would set production all the way back to around the time their sophomore film, ParaNorman, had released. So it's been in production for a long time at nearly 14 years. Travis Knight totes it as Laika Studios' most ambitious film to date, developing new tools and technology to do the book justice. The hints we've gotten so far are that it is a fantasy adventure that will include epic battles, aerial sequences, and they're crafting a large eagle character. The story is as follows. Set beyond Portland's city limits in Wildwood. You're not supposed to go there. You're not even supposed to know it exists. But Prue McKeel is about to enter this enchanted wonderland. Her baby brother, Mac, has been taken by a murder of crows into the forest's depths, and she, along with her hapless classmate, Curtis, is going to get him back. Prue might think she is too old for fairy tales, but she just found herself at the center of one filled with strange talking animals, roguish bandits, and powerful figures with the darkest intentions. Obviously, this movie is not yet released, so we don't have scores on it or reviews and box office information, but I would like to share about my hopes and anticipation for it. This is easily one of, if not my most anticipated movies for next year. The cast for this movie is an absolute powerhouse, including Peyton Elizabeth Lee, Jacob Tremblay, Carey Mulligan, Mahershala Ali, Awkwafina, Angela Bassett, Jake Johnson, Charlie Day, Maya Erskine, and others that I haven't even seen yet. I'm currently actually reading the book series. The book series is a trilogy, so I've just started the first book and I'm several chapters in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. The story and world have been compared to works such as The Chronicle of Narnia or some of Tolkien's novels. The movie seems to be fixing to be the result and culmination of everything Laika Studios has created and accomplished so far in their journey. So I am highly anticipating and really looking forward to what Wildwood could be. So hopefully all of that has made a great case for why I think Laika Studios is the most underappreciated animation studio working today. As I just discussed at length, I do have varying opinions of their different films, but at the very core, they are absolutely incredible when it comes to their craft and animation. And there's no denying that they're doing some of the best, if not, like in my opinion, the best animation work we have ever seen and some of the best we're seeing today. Hopefully you learned something along the way. Let me know your favorite Laika Studios movie released so far in the comments down below. Thank you for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next video.